Okay, you're good.
All right, we'll call the October Water and Wastewater Utilities Commission meeting to order. Start out with roll call.
Engel,
Here.
Newman,
Here.
Levino,
Here.
Holman,
Here.
Franks,
Here.
Asper,
Here.
Buschke.
Here. We have a full slate of candidates. Next is citizens' comments. Seeing none, we'll move on to discussion and possible action. Upgrade and discussion regarding well project updates from Greg Dresser, Town and Country Engineering.
Do you want me here or you want me at the mic?
The mic
That's
doesn't work, so
Yeah,
whatever.
and they catch you here, one of the front seats if you want to do that.
All right, I'll move right to the front seat. So tonight I wanted to just give an update on the well number 4 project, kind of tell you where we're at, where we're going and when we're going to fire it up. And then just a brief update on wells 2, 3, and 5, where we're at and where we're going with that as well. So with well number 4, we have the work substantially complete at this point. We are waiting for the contractor. They just scheduled the Carita, which used to be Tonka, who is the manufacturer of the filter. They are scheduled for the week of the 28th to come out and do startup on that. At the same time, we will be doing startup on the chemical feed system, the plant SCADA system. We are working to get the generator started up before then. We're waiting on the electrician to give us a schedule on that. And I guess first things first, Water Well Solutions will be there tomorrow, Tim? Is that the schedule? Tomorrow to clean that well, and then they're gonna reset the well pump. We're actually gonna start up the well pump on Wednesday of next week to flush that out. So you'll see a lot of water flush to waste through the new hydrant that's there outside of the well house.
What did the televising show on the well? Nothing?
I haven't seen it.
They haven't said anything. I don't know, they're gonna brush it and scrub it and
No
clean it.
bridge of any kind?
They didn't say anything, no.
So that pump that was totally pulled out?
They pulled the well pump, they rebuilt the well pump as part of that contract. And then it will get reinstalled once the well is cleaned and returned ready for service. So by November 1st, we should be ready to put that well in operation, assuming that the startup of everything goes smoothly.
Media is in the iron filter?
Media is all in. Everything's painted in there. It looks ready to go. The mechanical contractor has some vent piping to do off of the air releases. He has a little bit of plumbing at the wellhead for the pre-loop line.
How about the controls for the automated backwashing?
That's all wired up. The final settings of all of that is done by the startup technician when he's out here. So August Winter, who's the mechanical contractor, has 4 items, I think it is. He's got the chemical pumps where he's got to mount the shelf and hook the tubing to the pumps. And he's got the pump in the backwash tank across the street that needs to be set yet and wired up, and then that's ready to
So
go.
what chemical do we put in there?
Sodium hypochlorite is the chemical. It's bleach basically for disinfection.
So when this thing backwashes, it goes into that holding tank across the street, and then at the same time, it's gradually sump pumped down to the sewer plant?
Yep, so we have a pump in there that's rated for, I think it's 25 gallons a minute, that it will pump out of that backwash tank to the sanitary sewer.
And the backwash is usually about 600 gallons a minute around here.
Yes. So that tank is sized to hold 2 full backwash cycles.
Right.
But you'll have controls set up in there to pump out that tank as needed and reintroduce that to the sanitary.
Is that discharge to the river still there, or was that sealed up?
That was to be sealed up as part of this project. They haven't been in that tank yet, Mike, to do that. So we are working with the contractor to schedule a punch list walkthrough. So we'll go through and point out every spot where the paint needs touching up and, you know, any mechanical deficiencies that are left to be done. We like to do that ahead of startup whenever possible, so as to kind of minimize the length of a formal punch list at the end of the project. But if all goes well, by that first week in November, we'll have everything in operation. As soon as well number 4 is ready to go, The other 3 wells will get new radios and PLCs, computers in them as well, so that they all communicate to a brand new SCADA network that's set up specifically for the water system.
So the GPM on that well is gonna be about the same as what it was previously?
We'll know more after they clean it, and
Okay, so you
Fire it
don't
up.
know yet.
it should be. I mean, you should see production very close to where you were at.
Well, it shouldn't go down, right? It should go up, if anything,
Um,
theoretically.
When we clean it, production should go up on it, but it has sat there largely unused for a couple of years, and it's always hard to speculate what kind of iron bacteria you may have accumulated over that time. That's really the update on well number 4. If there's any other questions on that one. Otherwise, wells 2, 3, and 5, we have received construction approval of our plans and specifications from the DNR for that project. In my world, the plans are about 75 to 80% complete. There's a lot of final detailing that I need to do before we can issue them for bidding. I met with Courtney and Tim and George this afternoon, and we kind of walked through the plans together. They had a few minor edits, but nothing significant. And we kind of talked through some of the detailing that needs to be done yet. So we are shooting for a schedule of about another 4 to 6 weeks, and we'll be ready to go to release those plans for bidding. What we talked about with that meeting today was kind of the sequencing of when we release that project for bidding, because you also have a wastewater project that's also very close to ready to bid. And the last thing we want to do is compete with that project for the same group of bidders on that project. This project is going to be hopefully in that under $4 million range. And the other project, I think, is in the $25 million range, if I'm not mistaken. So I use the analogy with Courtney of this project being smaller. It can be seen by contractors as either an appetizer before the large project that they're going to be bidding on, or dessert, depending on where you finish on that bidding that large
There's
project.
really no hurry on it, everything is working, correct?
Everything's working at the other 3 wells. Realistically, I want to get it out to bid. I would prefer to get it out to bid with board approval before Thanksgiving, so that we receive bids before Christmas. Because generally speaking, what happens is after the first of the year, the doors get thrown wide open and it becomes a bidding circus for contractors. So there is a natural window, I will say, between the official deer hunting holidays of Wisconsin and Christmas time, where bidders are looking for work to get on the slate for next year. It kind of helps them with their books going into the year end, and you're not dealing with the circus that is inevitably there right after the first of the year. These well projects can sometimes get lost in the shuffle if you throw them out on the open market with a lot of larger wastewater plant projects. We saw that last year on some of our other work where we had a $100 million wastewater plant. And we had contractors that were calling every week asking, when's that going to bid? When's that going to bid? Because it's not just the general contractors, but it's every major electrical contractor, plumbing, HVAC, mechanical. They're all hungry for work, all looking to kind of fill their plate for the year. So, one last thing with this project, we are looking at a project that's going to span probably 18 months from the time it's awarded till the time it's complete. A good portion of that is the fact that we have 3 new generators that are going in as part of this project, and lead time on a generator of this size is probably around 12 months yet at this point. The other critical piece is the MCC, the Motor Control Center, and that's getting replaced at well number 2, and also at well number 3, there's also a lot of new power distribution equipment there. And lead time on that can be 9 to 12 months right now as well. So as part of the meeting today, we did talk a bit about construction sequencing and talk specifically about how a mechanical contractor, for example, can take take any well down one at a time. We can be without one of those wells for a time period for that tank to be cleaned, repainted, the valves replaced, etc. All the things that are relatively, I don't want to say off the shelf, but readily available in a short timeline, and complete that work as we go. The same thing with the plumbing and the HVAC. A lot of that work can be scheduled by that particular contractor to come in, bang out his stuff, and move on to his next project. And similarly, the replacement of the doors, replacement of the roofs on the buildings, that kind of stuff. Again, we want, when they bring carpenters in, there's an efficiency of banging that stuff out. Let's get them in, get them out, get it done. The critical path on this is we can't have more than one down at a time. So it's really going to be the mechanical contractor that we need to work closely with on this to make sure that we don't have any of those facilities down for an extended period, as well as the electrical contractors. Any questions for me on this project?
So you're likely then looking at just spring, fall bid, spring construction.
So if all goes per plan, we would bid it before Christmas. We would award the project the first meeting in January, or the meeting in January. It takes about a month or so to turn contracts around with a contractor. So he'd get his notice of award, notice to proceed sometime late January, early February. And that kind of starts the clock ticking. So that would be all of 25 basically that they would have to get their materials ordered and start. Could be certain things that you'll see people starting on as early as summer of next year. And other things that will be naturally delayed until we get the generators, for example, delivered.
Very good. Any questions? Concerns? Thank you very much for the update. Appreciate that.
No worries.
Next is review and discussion of inspection documents pertaining to South Clark Street Tower.
So inspection documents are in, but this meeting went a little, I wanted to put Greg first because he's got a long drive, so if you notice the order of your packet's a little unusual.
Is that my?
Oh, you don't, yeah.
Yeah.
That's, I put you first so that you can,
All right, thank you.
have that.
Thanks, everyone. Have a good
Good
night.
night.
Yeah, but just so you notice, the packet's a little backwards, that's what we have with those icons. And they're using a new agenda software too, so if it looks a little different than usual, I think we're the first ones to roll it out here. Review and discussion of inspection documents, this is your full inspection, after your tower painting and repairs here with the DNR inspection report submittal there as well. If anybody had any questions on that, did the pictures?
So what's going on in 5 years then? Do we have to do a wet inspection or is it another dry one? I'm scratching my head on that.
It'll be a wet one. They only gotta go halfway.
Okay, because why wasn't the dry one done like before it went online? You know what I'm saying?
That
It
counts.
looks like there's water in there when they inspected this.
He sent pictures to her all along through the process.
I'm just saying, in
And-
5 years, so you just gotta do a wet inspection?
We just found out the other day, you gotta do an annual one,
What,
annual inspection,
wet one or a dry one?
a wet one annually.
Okay,
I did not know that.
what is it for to dry then? It used to be every 10 years.
There's,
She didn't really specify. It was supposed to be on an annual thing. They changed all the criteria.
You know, I'm just saying, well, this thing was down and before it went online, why wasn't it inspected then? She didn't,
He did the inspection. The guy
before it went
did it
online or after?
before it went online.
Yeah.
Before we even filled it, he sent
Because it looks like to me this was online and then all of a sudden they're doing an inspection again.
Matt sent pictures all along as we were
Yeah.
doing the work.
Kind of
Because
an
you know,
odd-
it's a pain in the neck to drain this whole thing and you know how
Yeah, we
it goes.
didn't drain it.
Yeah, as he did the work, I think he submitted stuff to Sophia
I
as
guess
a law.
picture it kind of as an ongoing inspection as they, you know. kind
As
of
changes were made, like we had to redo she had a big thing for our discharge pipe, and then he did that, and he sent her that. And it just kept going is what he did.
Yeah, so that was one of the biggest sanitary survey items on the second page where it says overflow discharge and catch basin. So that was I don't even know what you want, like the cement casing went up and the grading was like 2 inches under the discharge pipe. And to us, while that's open air and that is an
Yeah.
air gap, to them it was not an air gap because the grading was
Now, you
near.
know, I'm just looking at these pictures, I'm looking at this one here, is this gonna be good for a while now, this overflow discharge? They're the ones that wanted it the way it was before, now they want it like this, you know, what is it gonna be next?
I've been battling that for 5 years, you know, that was fully encapsulated, and they made us tear it down.
I'm just-
So that was one of the things, that was on the list for a while, right?
That's been on there.
We actually took that encapsulation off,
They're
last
they're the
sentence.
ones that wanted us to put that in the way it was when I was there.
Yeah.
And then it wasn't good enough. They should have to pay for it.
Actually, at first, she wanted us to not let it go to the storm sewer anymore and put a splash pad back in.
Bunch of roundheads, that's what they are.
So it's all up to snuff now.
Yes. So, yeah.
For what
5
they wanted
years.
now.
Till next year. How about the one on the hill? When are they gonna do that? Is that gonna be inspected?
Yep.
Every year?
Yep.
Forever and ever?
That's what they tell us. I
That's
don't make the rules.
something we don't do, we contract out.
How are we gonna do that? Does he know how to scuba dive?
I heard it does.
You'll be inspecting that, he's gonna come back and tell one more time to do that.
You don't have a fan of heights there either. I don't think we're gonna get you. I think we're
Or
gonna
what
get
do
you.
they do? They send in a little submarine in there, or does a person actually go in there yet? For a wet inspection?
They send a diver.
We've been diving, yeah.
What was that cost?
Can't, I
I'd
don't know,
have
we
to
just
look
did
at
it,
our
we
last
just did it like
billing,
3
yeah.
years ago.
I wanna say like 2,000 to 3,000,
Yeah.
somewhere in there when they do those.
Wow.
And even little Leroy's gotta do that every year now?
No,
Oh,
I don't think so.
well,
I
why?
don't, because they're under population of 5,000.
Oh, okay, so we gotta ask people.
We're in the next category. Again, I don't make the laws. I mean, 5,000 is your cutoff.
It's just.
That's, Oregon has to do a lot less than we do as well.
Like this
Population.
question, I don't know. Yeah, so it's all populated and then over 10 and, you know, over.
5 to 10
all
is
different
their
restrictions
cutoff.
for everything.
Yeah.
We're the low end of the 10,000. That's funding, no matter what, everything falls in that category.
Let's move on.
Anything else on the
Inspection,
tower? Got Mike all worked up over there. Next is approval of the minutes from September 3rd meeting. Did you all read the minutes and think they're good?
So move.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Next, we move on to approval of the bills, which includes the water utility bills and the wastewater bills. So take a motion, a second, and we have discussion.
I'll make a motion.
Second,
Second.
Gino and Oscar. Any questions on the bills?
Yeah, what's the scale for $3,000 at the scale replacement fund? Where's the scale?
so that's the laboratory scale that's used for like TSS.
Wait,
Ours
Is that
died,
for weighing solids?
Yeah.
That's $3,000?
yes. That was the low end one.
We could milk this one, I'm sure you're gonna get a new one with the new sewer plant.
So we're gonna keep it obviously, but the other one, the readout died entirely. You can't read any numbers off of it because it's all digital.
Gonna go to Walmart and get a bathroom scale?
I mean, like a kitchen scale might work, but,
How old was it?
2007. So, and that's something that comes out of, that has a transfer made out of it because that's included in the replacement fund items that we populate
Does this
that.
have to be calibrated every year?
Yes.
Okay, no more from me.
Any other questions on the water or wastewater bills? Now we'll take roll call on that.
Engel,
Aye.
Newman,
Aye.
Leo,
Aye.
Omen,
Aye.
Frings.
Aye.
Asper.
Aye.
Bushki.
Aye. Next on the report, water report,
All right.
well, and distribution system.
Well, we kind of already talked about a lot, but Clark Street Towers in service, and just winterizing yet, and that has to be complete. The DNR's response to the sanitary inspection's been submitted, as well as the updated emergency plan. So the emergency plan was the big in black bold writing saying that we don't have an emergency plan. It was just a matter of chlorination, scales. So just went ahead and redid the whole emergency plan or updated the whole thing right away. So we should be good for years to come. We can now pop in a number and figure out our exact dosage by our pump. So it's plug and play. There's an Excel spreadsheet there, plug and play, ready to go. We'll know exactly what we need. We had a service break on 9/13. It was repaired the following day on School Street. We're about a third of the way done with fall flushing, and getting those flows updated as well. And what else do we have here? Oh, our USG contract. So we did, as we discussed well 4 and getting that well reset. We've been going back and forth with USG. So we finally got to the point where we got these work orders out of USG. Water wells is coming. Next week we have them putting everything in. So I'm trying to tread a little bit lightly until that's actually done. But they contact us regarding the bills for the 10-year contract because I held out on them and I didn't pay them yet this year. So to make sure we get our work done, or however carefully you want to tread on that one. But we do have, so we did not pay this year's bills yet. But technically they didn't honor any of their contract in 2023, so I'm kind of holding out on maybe we don't have to pay
How much do you owe?
2024. It changes, that contract changes every year, but I believe that's around like a $40,000 to $45,000 annual contract. So, I mean, to me, that's a breach of contract in 1 year if you didn't on their end. So, I finally found a new contact over there that is answering me and looking into this though. The department head thing has not basically answered anything, so I've passed this email thread and everything else along. Any of the work we have received along to him, so it seems like he's hopefully starting to look into it.
And when's that totally done?
The well house?
No, the contract.
The contract, it was signed in March of 2016, so it'd be 2026. So, and they still have on the hook to pull all of the wells, which,
So they're gonna honor that then, right?
to pull all the wells?
Yeah.
Yeah, I haven't canceled, nothing's been canceled, but I think,
Well,
from a
they were at
payment
well
standpoint.
4, so they're committed to the contract there. How about the other 3?
So in year 10, so we got them, in year 10 is when all the other 3 were supposed to be pulled. I was kind of hoping to negotiate when these all are changed and, construction would go online by that year 10.2. But we did get them to honor well 4 in
Right?
year 8, so.
So who are we talking to these days?
There is a Tyler Argall now from USG.
Or is he located?
I have no idea. He showed up one day, so he must be somewhat local though. So yeah, we have a local contact. The other one that we had been working with that I didn't get really any answers.
So Water Wells is their main subcontractor?
Yeah, Water Wells is their subcontractor for this area, but Water Wells can't do anything essentially until USC issues a work order out of Atlanta. They're not supposed to touch anything with these contracts. So we got that out of them. We got to the point of well 4. Now we'll work on payments for those.
And they got till 2026 to finish the contract.
Yeah, 2026 would be the pulling of the remainder of the wells. So far, so good for the trouble it's caused. Any questions on water?
Any question on water? Next is wastewater report.
Jetting for the year is about 90% complete. The repairs to the turbo approved at the September meeting have been completed. Little tiny bit less than the quote, but we got as close as we could. It works. And UV disinfection is complete for the year. That'll be removed, replaced, and prepped for storage to put in next year. Kind of a short one on notes today.
Any questions on wastewater?
Did we spend some money on the UV system? I thought I seen something in the bills for that. but-
Yeah, we had some bulbs that are, one bank of bulbs is not functioning at full capacity.
Mhm.
When we have E. coli results, because they've switched, we do E. coli now is their reporting method. We're used to having like 2, 3, 1 for numbers, something like that, and we were reaching, our limit is 400, but we were reaching like 100 because the intensity of the bulbs is fading down. So they'll be prepped and ready for next year to start at full strength, and then we can rotate the replacement of the bulbs with the 2 banks that we have.
Okay, great.
We try not to turn full power on 2 banks at once, because the power costs more than the bulbs to make limits.
Anything else? Next meeting, November 5th, 6 o'clock.
And that is election.
Oh, yeah, yes.
It is election day, and I talked to Annie, I think, is anybody working?
I do, but that's just during the day.
You'll be done.
Okay,
Yeah,
I
I'll be
think, yeah, we had mentioned you,
Yeah.
but unless there's an issue, we just kind of carried on with as scheduled.
Is that all right with everyone?
Okay.
I could be at home watching the results.
Yeah, we can meet here because they're in the library.
Right, and that, yeah, the polling location has changed, so we didn't run into an issue.
Most to adjourn.
Right. So,
Second. All in favor?
I,
2 seconds.